Before Rome marched, before the Ottomans rose, there was Persia, a name whispered with reverence and fear across ancient lands. But Persia wasn't always an empire. It began with nomads, forgotten tribes wandering through mountains and deserts. This is the story of how a scattered people became rulers of the largest empire the world had ever seen. The story of kings, revolutions, battles, betrayals, and a legacy that still shapes us today. Let's go back to 550 BCE, when the world map looked completely different. In a rugged land called Anshan, a young leader named Cyrus rose among the Persians who, up to this point, were under the domination of a more powerful empire, the Medes. But Cyrus wasn't content with being second class. He rebelled, and in one of history's boldest moves, he defeated his overlords. Imagine your local town mayor suddenly taking over the capital city. That's how shocking this was. He didn't stop there. Cyrus swept through Babylonia, Lydia, and parts of Central Asia, not just with armies, but with ideas. Instead of ruling through fear, he respected local customs, religions, and languages. When he conquered Babylon, he freed the Jews and let them return to Jerusalem, an act so impactful it's still mentioned in the Bible. This wasn't just an empire of land. It was an empire of hearts. After Cyrus, a king named Darius the Great took the throne, and what he did was nothing short of world-building. Picture this: a realm so massive it stretched from India to Egypt, with dozens of languages, currencies, and cultures. Darius didn't rule it with brute force. He engineered a system. He divided the empire into regions called satrapies, each with its own governor, tax system, and military. Like building a global franchise, with each branch run by trained managers. He even built highways, the most famous being the Royal Road, over 1,600 miles long, with rest stations and mounted couriers. Think of it as the world's first FedEx. And the capital? Persepolis, a city carved into the rock, glittering with gold, rising like a crown in the desert. But no empire is perfect. As the Persian Empire soared, another world stirred in the west, Greece. In what became one of history's greatest rivalries, Persia and Greece clashed in a series of epic wars. Darius launched an invasion but was repelled at the famous Battle of Marathon. His son, Xerxes, tried again, with an army so massive that legends say it drank rivers dry. This was the time of Thermopylae, Leonidas, and the 300 Spartans, an event turned myth, but rooted in real blood. The Persians eventually burned Athens, but the Greeks struck back at Salamis, sinking Persian ships in a stunning naval ambush. It wasn't just a war of swords. It was a war of civilizations. And slowly, the Persian aura of invincibility began to crack. Centuries passed. The empire stood, but the rot had begun. Internal corruption grew. Satraps turned greedy. Court intrigues, assassinations, and civil wars became common. By 330 BCE, the world turned upside down again. A 20-year-old Macedonian king named Alexander the Great stormed into Persia with a vengeance. Alexander wasn't just conquering, he was erasing. He burned Persepolis to the ground, perhaps in retaliation for Xerxes' burning of Athens. Or perhaps, as some say, in a drunken rage. With that, the mighty Achaemenid Empire founded by Cyrus, built by Darius, tested by Greece, was no more. But here's what makes Persia's story different. It didn't end with defeat. The Persian people rose again under new dynasties, the Parthians, the Sassanids, and centuries later, they helped shape the Islamic Golden Age. Even today, in the country of Iran, echoes of the Persian Empire are everywhere, from language and poetry to architecture and art. Cyrus's Declaration of Human Rights is studied by scholars. Persepolis remains one of the greatest archaeological wonders on Earth, and the word Persian still evokes a sense of mystique and grandeur. The Persian Empire wasn't just about conquest. It was about vision, the belief that many people, many cultures, could live under one banner without losing their identity. It's a lesson modern empires would struggle and often fail to understand. And so, though the stones of Persepolis may crumble, the story of Persia still stands.